everyone, and welcome to our very first episode of Pause with Noku. My name is Noku. I am your host. This is the platform created to empower, inspire, and share real stories from real people, honest conversations, and meaningful insights. I'm your host, as I said, and I'm joined today by this young woman, a remarkable very young woman, if you ask me, who turned a time of crisis into an opportunity to uplift others. Alex is going to introduce herself. She is the founder of Milani Education, and she is here with us today. Milani comes from isiZulu, guys, meaning grow, to grow. It's more than just a learning tool, and she's going to tell all about it. But briefly, Milani Education started during the hard lockdown 2020, and this young woman next to me was doing grade 9. A 14-year-old, like, what do you know, guys? I feel so old. So when Alex was doing just grade 9, this was the time she was exposed and started this Milani Education platform, which is going to tell us more about it. Welcome, Alex, and how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's exciting to be here, and I'm the first one too.
Oh yeah!
It's a privilege. Thank you for having me.
You are welcome, sis. So, do you still remember how, where, and when we met?
Yes.
Where? Do you want to tell them?
We were at the EDHE regional rounds.
Mm-hmm. What is EDHE? I'll tell them in full. It's Entrepreneurship Development in Higher Education. What is it about?
So this is a competition that was run by a whole group of universities around South Africa. And they sent us all emails asking if you have an entrepreneurial idea or an entrepreneurial venture in the set few categories, one of them being social impact. Then you should apply, and essentially it was a pitching competition. We learned how to create pitch decks, how to present our ideas clearly, and we all competed in 3 rounds. The first was in Stellenbosch, and then there was a regional round for Western Cape, which I was lucky enough to meet you at that round. Fortunately for that day, I won in the social impact category.
And I knew it before the competition was announced.
I was scared you were going to jinx it. You were too excited.
Yes.
But yeah, it was great. And then we went to the national rounds after that in Joburg, which was very exciting. But that's where we met. You were doing a talk about the amazing work you've done. And you came up to me and sat me down and said, listen here. We're going to work together. There's a good thing we can do together.
Yeah.
We're working in the same space and we have the same passion. So that's how I remember.
In fact, I almost forgot how we met. I thought the second time was the first. Then I remembered, no man, I was sitting on the other side. I remember that very well. But you know what I've been thinking about lately, Alex, is that sometimes we forget, or maybe you are not there yet, but sometimes there's just a tendency to forget about who we are, our identities outside the work that we do. And it's so easy to forget that. But the concern is when you don't know who you are outside of your work. And now we want to get to know who is Alex and where are you from? So I'm from Alex Alexander, right?
Yes, Alexander.
What does that look? Do you know what your name is?
It's actually, Alexander is the original one, the man's name. And then it's adapted to Alexandra. But Alexander is defender of men.
And now that's Alexander defending women.
I'm trying to defend high school students.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, that's where it comes from. As far as I'm
nice. Okay, so where are you from?
So I'm from KwaZulu-Natal. I live in Hillcrest, around there, in KZN. And I went to a boarding school, St. John's, for high school.
Oh, wow.
And obviously in grade 9, that's when Milani came about, and the teachers at St. John's were pretty much the reason I started it. And the headmaster of St. John's has been amazing throughout the whole journey.
Wow.
So that's where the initial support all came from. But yeah, I went to boarding school for high school, and then I had to come to the Western Cape for university.
And now you are here, Stellenbosch. Then now are here, Stellenbosch. What are you studying here?
I'm studying data science.
What is that? listening because you know this whole thing, parents, educators, schools are listening, and that's one of the reasons I love you and I like your work. It's because you are holistic, you are everything. So what is data science? What is that like? Basically, like roughly, briefly, not hectic. Let's say you are talking to a grade 9. Then what is that?
So I'm only in my second year, so I'm still figuring it out.
All right.
But I think it's basically gathering a lot of data. All companies collect data, whether they mean to or not. And as a data scientist, we gather and collect all of this data and help draw meaning from it. So we try predict what people will do, how people will behave, what the best way a business should go about doing certain things. So we take all of the data that they have and then create nice, pretty graphs and stuff like that, and kind of draw meaning from all of this data that you have. We take it and single out and see what can you change to be better for your company, how can you influence people, how can you make better decisions. So that's
give us an example. Like, have you collected data of anything in your second year?
Yeah, we're starting with data science now, which is cool. It's probably, first year was very broad. Us and actuarial science and computer science, we were very similar, so it was hard to know what we were doing.
Okay.
But now we're finally learning how to code and create graphs and draw meaning from things. Yeah, an example would be if you have 10 places you need to deliver to, what route should you go that will be the most cost effective and get all the parcels there on time, instead of just randomly doing it and hoping that it works. So it's trying a lot of different things and using data to predict what is going to be the most efficient, what is going to save us money, what group of people should we do a marketing campaign for. Yeah, based on little characteristics and data that you get from people. Who's most likely to buy your product? Where should you put a product in the shopping centres? Where on the aisles? Where do you put them so that people see them by mistake and buy the product? Little things like that that you don't think about as a consumer every day.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of clever people behind screens that have collected all of your data and have chosen everything on purpose.
That sounds like similar to, not the same, but I feel like marketing, people can work closely with data science, because if you are to choose to see, to investigate, to observe why, where, what, then you will know, of which I think that will also help you if it's not helping you with your work with Milani, of which we're going to talk about that later. Because you research basically and get to understand our behaviors as consumers.
Yes, exactly.
So you study as where our moves.
Yes.
So and then you decide that specifically for that company, so that those companies they can.
Yeah.
So was that your first choice?
Initially, no.
What you wanted to do and why?
I wanted to do a lot of things. It always changed. When I was little, I loved animals, so I wanted to be a vet. And then I realized that I couldn't be a vet.
You lost the passion for animals?
It's too, I'm not good at that, blood and stuff. And then my brother's an engineer, so I decided I wanted to then be a biomedical engineer all of the like prosthetics and stuff like that. And then I realized I didn't actually want to be an engineer, I just liked the sound of it. And then, through Milani a lot, I realized I really liked business.
Okay.
And I thought that was really interesting and economics would be a good idea. And then I realized I don't know if I could study a whole business degree, only business, because I really like maths. So
Okay.
it's like, how I want to study economics, but I also really want to study like maths, and I like the idea of technology and AI and all of that. And then I came across data science, which had so many focal areas. There's like 9, I think. And they're all in different faculties. And then I saw the focal area behavioral economics under data science, which was really maths related. So that was a perfect fit because it had a little bit of everything. And yeah.
So you just saw that, no one told you about?
No, I was reading the little pamphlets.
Okay.
I knew I wanted to come to Stellenbosch. My brothers were here.
Okay.
So I visited a few times in high school and I was like, yeah, this looks really
wow.
So
how old were you when you started changing these careers from vet to What else you wanted to do? Engineering. And
Um,
so which grade
Maybe
maybe?
grade 10.
Okay.
Thinking, and then grade 11, you have to figure out what marks you want to get. And
But
also
then
grade
you knew
9,
that
which
you
is
were going
also
to do maths, pure maths and all of those
yes,
things.
I enjoyed maths. I was
Okay.
good at it.
Okay.
And I also did like science was interesting. And I always thought maybe I'll do something with engineering just because I liked working with my hands.
So I'm asking that because it's really okay to keep changing and to be exposed earlier on in life about careers that are out there, because you kept changing until you find what is yours, of which now you are doing something that you love. Do you love it? What was the shock? What surprised you about it that you didn't know?
I didn't know that it was one of the most failed degrees. The hardest, it had a nice name.
Nice name.
And I knew it was very hard to get into. So that was I knew it would be hard. But I remember the first day sitting down in our maths lecture, and I didn't take AP maths. We didn't have computer science at my school. Didn't have economics. So I sat down in all of these classes, and it was very, very fast paced. And all of my friends around me had taken AP maths. So they were like, oh, this is so boring. And I was, oh my word. So I got us the jump from school to university was scary. But I mean, after a few weeks, you get used to it. And then you realize, okay, it's not that scary, but you very quickly develop the skills to manage a higher stress, a much higher level of working. But in hindsight, I think I now enjoy university work more than school, because I think at school I was a bit understimulated. I felt like I was learning things that I didn't choose to learn, Whereas now it's really hard, and sometimes you're having a bit of a cry and you're like, oh, I can't do this. But, at the end of the day, I know that I chose it. I decided to be here. I want to be here.
Wow.
And I kind of have a goal at mind. So it's worth the difference.
So how did you survive those moments when you're like, oh my goodness, I want to go home? I'm with my parents now. I can't take it.
I'm still having those moments. No, I have a really good group of friends.
Okay.
So
that's your support.
It's about 10 of us. And it's a very small degree, so you see everyone in your same classes. And they're my support, because there'll be someone that's done this and is really good at that. And there'll be a boy that's really good at coding. And then you're all sit together, and it's almost social. You go and you study together, and you all try not to cry because it's so hard, and you build relationships, and you get out of those tough times and you get it for it. So.
And then the cultural shock, what shocked you about Stellenbosch?
What is safety? The being able to walk everywhere. It's been so funny. At home, you have to drive everywhere. I live on, not a farm, but like a small holding. So I can't walk anywhere,
Wow.
But coming here and being able to walk to lectures, and I can walk to the shops. I'd have to walk a lot of kilometers to walk to the shops at home, whereas here everything is so close to each other. And also the freedom, deciding I want to wake up at 6 and run, I can do that. If I want to go for dinner spontaneous, I can do that too. It's quite nice. You have the freedom.
I was about to ask you about that. Besides your work, what else now? You mentioned running. What else do you enjoy besides Milani, of which we'll get there just now? But I just wanted to get to know Alex behind Milani Education. So you enjoy running?
Yes, I think running is probably my top hobby at the moment. I've gone through a lot of hobbies.
Okay. Do you see yourself in 100 marathons maybe in the future?
One day I want to do the comrades. Not when I'm too young though, because it's bad for me. But I love running. I do it every day, and it's just I try to do it every day. But I have quite a strict routine that I'm always having, and running is just half an hour during my day. It's just Alex, and whatever my brain wants to think about. And there's no one messaging me, no lectures, no work, no anything. It's just me and myself, and I think it's really, really good for anyone to just have something to work towards. And it's fun. I have a lot of friends that run. We all go together and then have coffee, and you can go run in the mountains here. It's been really cool. That's like I would never have done.
I think, talking to you made me realize that it's really, you remind me of my younger self. You mentioned a lot about friends, and it seems like it's your support system. And I think as I'm growing older, my circle is so small, and I remember when I was your age, I had friends, and I think that is a good thing, your social support and having that circle really does help. You are not alone, and especially that your parents are far.
Yes.
You really need that.
Yes.
So then, do you know or are you aware about maybe of career choices or paths after graduation? What happens for data scientists after graduation?
So supposedly, data science is a very sought out degree for companies because so few people finish. I think in the first, I might be wrong. In the first year, there were maybe 7 or 11 that graduated from Stellenbosch, and I think it may have changed now. But when I applied for the degree, Stellenbosch was the only university that offered a 4-year honours program in data science. So there's very little supply, and I think a lot of demand. Companies are seeking people to make use of now with technology. There's so much data being collected, but no one knows what to do with it. You know, you have your analytics and whatnot, but no one knows what it means or how it's going to help you. So I think it is quite highly sought after. I think doing behavioral economics, I'd like to work in the commerce industry. I'd like to start in corporates. I think it's interesting. I think it's cool to work in a big company. But one day I'd like to have my own startup. I have Milani now, which is awesome, but I want to keep. It's my baby, it's my passion. But I'd like to have a for-profit startup one day. But yeah, I'm excited to work. It's novel to be able to work in a big organization and see how it works and be a part of something that's quite large in practice. It's exciting. So I think that's where I'd go into. It would be a big corporate.
Okay, so how would you advise a high school learner who is not sure what to do? Like now that you're on the other side, you're once there and you're here, and what skills, and obviously it's maths and science that is needed as a requirement.
I think just
maybe you tell us
I
about.
took maths and science.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure if science was needed. Maths,
Okay.
you need a very good one. But I don't know because I'm not a BSc. I'm not in the science faculty. I'm in the commerce faculty.
Yes. Okay.
So I don't take any subjects that need science.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's different between the focal areas.
But what skills now you have learned now that you're in the second year that are needed when you are studying data science? What skills are needed? Like the kind of personality, focus, and all of those things.
You know, I think something which I'm lucky because I went to boarding school.
Yeah.
Every single night we had prep, and it was
Ooh,
like 2
that
hours.
discipline.
It was 2 hours, and whether you're feeling sick, whether you're tired, whether you've been playing sports till 6, you come and you sit down and you work for 2 hours, and after 2 hours you go to bed. And I think that's been a really good framework for me because I still get myself prepped. I go to the library and I work and I do it. Doesn't matter how I'm feeling, what my friends are, having that everyday routine I think is important because some people get to university and they get so excited because you have freedom and you've got so many friends around that they don't go to lectures and they fall behind and then come exams and then you're panicking and then you don't have time and your mental health is down and you're not sleeping and you're not exercising, and I think that's when the problem comes. So I think consistency is something I learned. Luckily I learned it in school because I had to, but being consistent and doing a little bit every single day has really been key. I think it's enabled me to stay on top of everything. Every week you consolidate to say, what did I learn, what was I not understanding, what didn't I finish, okay, let's do this, let's prepare, what do I need to do this week, that's been vital.
Oh wow, thank you so much. Now I feel like I know you better because whenever we meet, we're talking about Milani Education, career guidance, and all of those things.
Yes.
Now, thank you so much. That was free career guidance session, which is more or less about what we're all about. And I am so inspired, and I hope that educators, schools, or learners, parents, they will learn a lot. And I feel like it's good to know what you want in life, and then you keep changing because imagine if you were so crazy about this thing.
No.
And then what happens? Your love for animals
see them standing and like cutting them.
But
I don't want to cut into them and deal with the sick. That's not nice.
okay.
I think I'm too queasy. I actually don't want to do that. It was I was young and I was like, oh, cute. I'm very happy where I am. The fact that I don't have to touch anything that's living. I can just
It's just you and computers.
Talk to some people. That's what I like.
But you have such a beautiful personality. You are bubbly, but still you want to give your space behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'll be bubbly to people, but not to the animals that are. I want to see animals that are. That's not nice.
Thank you so much. That was insightful. Now, moving back to Milani Education, which most people, that's what you are known for. Tell us about Milani Education. And please allow your mind to transport you back to 2020, at the age of 14. Where were you? What was happening? What happened in that? As I was thinking about this conversation, I was like, what really happened for you to be like, this is it, I'm doing this, take us back 2020.
It was so fun.
2021, 2020, yes. What was happening?
So, rewinding before COVID,
Yeah.
you can tell I was a little bit ADHD. I wasn't very good at focusing sometimes, so I often would be thinking of other ideas and other things that I want to do. So when I was in beginning of grade 9, my school, I'd noticed I'd come from a junior school that was really good with technology. And we were doing coding and we were programming robots to do cool things. I was like, I was really interested in that. And I thought it was so interesting. And then I went to boarding school and it was a very quite old fashioned, small school, but
still in case.
Yeah, okay, still in case. But no computer skills at all, really. We had a computer lesson, but we were doing typing and learning how to make a PowerPoint, which is good, but no IT, no technical drawing, nothing. No. So I was and then in class, we wouldn't even really use a projector. We were on the whiteboards. But I was now some schools were getting really advanced with technology, but one here, one there. But everything else was filled with technology. But after school, in the workplace, everything's online, everything's tech. So I was why don't we have technology in class? This is crazy. How come everything else overseas was progressing, but we were sitting there not doing anything? So I was set out on my mission to go tell our school principal that we have to start having tablets in the classroom.
How old are you for you to tell your principal?
2014, but I was going to tell her. I was searching. I was like, what are the advantages of education and technology, and how is technology going to benefit education? Blah blah blah. How much is it going to cost? I was really, and there was a teacher that I had in class. I was like, well, I don't understand why we don't have technology. And she was like, well, why don't you do something about that? And that was probably the first time I realized I could do something about that. That's a good idea. So then I was doing all of this research, and as life happens to do, as I was researching why we need technology in the classroom, lockdown happened literally overnight, and all of a sudden every single one of our lessons was online. And then I sat there and I was like,
and then you had to leave.
Yeah,
back home.
Yeah, back home. And everything, now we had video calls for everything. All of our assignments we used Teams for the first time, and all of our assignments were put in this beautiful format, and I could do all my work in my own time, which was so novel. Instead of sitting in class from 8 to 2, I would finish all my work by 10:30, and then I could go and do whatever I wanted. And I was like, this is great.
This is what you wanted.
This is lovely. Why did it take a pandemic to do this, And then I was talking to my safety teacher, and I was like, well, I suppose all of my research, all of everything that I was doing, I was like, that's kind of come to nothing. And she had a really good point. And she was like, yeah, it's great for St. John's, my school that I was at, but now what about the students that were sitting in class with a teacher, but now that they're not in class, they have nothing now. You know, their school can't afford to have laptops given to everyone and train the teachers and have Wi-Fi. She was like, all of those students that had a little bit, they had the in-person teaching, they now have nothing at all. And then I was like, you know what, that's actually really true. And at that, I was watching a few TED Talks listening about like the gaps in education, what Sal Khan is doing in Khan Academy. It was really interesting. That was more in America though. Yeah, and I kind of realized like, yeah, that's a good point. And now, like in the past, pre-COVID, not a lot of schools were online because it was easy to just keep the way you do it. You know? And now everyone's forced to be online. So all of these schools that can are generating all of this really, really good learning materials that now could be shared. You know, when we're in the classroom and there's a teacher teaching, you can't really invite 1,000 students to come and join your classroom. But when it's online, there's no reason to gatekeep this information. That's what was also bothering me. I was like,
Gatekeepers?
yeah. But it's like, why is it a privilege
Yeah.
to be educated? You know, like why is it only me sitting in my room with my laptop that can access this video? Why can't we make it available for anyone online to have? Which I didn't understand. So that's where I was drawing my little mind map because, as I say, I get understimulated, so I was bored and I was like researching, and my mom was like, oh, I don't know, go play or do something. I was irritating everyone in the house because I was so like, and I was writing and I was like, well, I have lessons and we have technology now that has these lessons on it and that we can access everything. Social media is amazing, you know. I was like, why can't we share this content and use technology and do something meaningful? Because there was this big gap before COVID, and during COVID, the gap got even bigger because only a few people could continue learning, and the rest just completely got neglected.
I agree with you that during COVID-19, the gap was just bigger. It has always been there, but then during that time, it was bigger. And then the idea, Milani Education, still. And then we thought, okay, let's do that. What is Milani Education? And let's say, people they don't know, what is this Milani? What is this Milani? So what do you do and all of these things? How can people get, what do they access that from?
So Milani is an online supplementary learning tool, but it's essentially a website that has teachers uploading really good quality lessons from grade 8 to 12. Okay. And these lessons include short videos covering topics. We have online notebooks, we have past papers, we have worksheets, and then quizzes to test your knowledge and see how you're doing in all of the South African curriculum. And this content is made completely accessible for anyone for free. So we found that there was a massive gap. There's some online resources for overseas students and the overseas curriculum, but there was a massive gap. There was nothing CAPS curriculum related, nothing for the South African high school students. So all of the content on our platform is tailored towards the South African curriculum and then carefully moderated by teachers so that everything that we offer has been given the go-ahead by a teacher to say that this is top quality material, that when students learn this, you can know that it's a really good standard. So yeah, it's been a long journey. We started with maths, and we've now got maths from grade 8 to 12, maths lit for grade 10 to 12, and then English home language for grade 11 and 12, and English first additional language for grade 11 and 12. And then recently we've launched a new subject, history, for matrics, and that's been a game changer. We've decided that we're going to change the way that we present content.
Okay.
We've decided that we used to offer all of the content on Milani from the first day you walk into school, from the last day you leave, which is great because at the time students didn't have access to anything. So we thought, let's gather as much content. I flew to Cape Town to go visit schools here. I was visiting the schools in Pietermaritzburg where I was knocking on my teachers' doors saying, please give me some content. And it was great. We got all of that content, and something is better than nothing for students. But maturing and realizing that now there's other online platforms, we've realized that the true gap now that students don't have when it comes to online education is skills. So we've decided that what we're doing going forward is focusing on the skills that students need. It's sometimes more than just what you can learn from a textbook. It's how do you do an exam?
Yeah.
How do you problem solve? How do you write an essay? You know? When I'm in the exam and I've only got an hour left and I have so much to do, how do I divide my time? How do I do a mind map? What is the difference between these different questions? They all sound the same. Why can't I answer them the same? And that's something we've started doing. We've had a really positive response. We've been talking to some professors who are really educated in education. And it's exciting. We're partnering now with nonprofits and we're trying to get our learning platform in the hands of students. We've been focusing on getting as much content as possible on the platform so that we have something valuable for them. And now we're trying to have these partnerships with nonprofits and schools and organizations and see how best we can help learners. What do learners continually need? How can we support them?
Yeah.
And we don't want to replace teachers. That's something. Some people think that we're an online school.
Yeah, no.
We don't want to be an online
school.
That's good to clarify that. You've got amazing teachers at schools, and that's necessary.
Just supplement.
We're your supplementary tool. When you're in the afternoons trying to prepare for your tests, and you don't know how to do your homework, you were sick a month ago, your teacher wasn't there, you missed this concept when in grade 8 maybe, you can use our platform as a tool to help you with your revision and help you understand topics in a deeper way so that when you're writing your exams and tests and even just in class, you have a deeper knowledge using technology and what other teachers.
But Alex, I still want us to go back to this point that you had all the resources that you needed for yourself. You are privileged. You were privileged to have those things. What made you cling on? Because for me, that's justice, that's compassion. And at a younger age, you already knew, you were already aware that there are inequalities in this country. How? Like, take us through that.
It was.
Even in Oxford, you did mention something about inequalities that exist in South Africa, especially in every way, actually, but in education, the education system. Why? Because why would you care about others?
That is something I realized, is that as a very privileged student at a very good private school, it's really easy to just carry on going through your day with my little class and my nice school, and you do a little bit of community service and like go visit some children and play games once a week, and it's nice, but you don't ever fully grasp what's going on in the communities around you. And we're surrounded by a big population of people that don't have access to a lot. And unless you're exposed to it, it's really easy to just be in your bubble and carry on doing what you're doing. So Milani is something that's opened my eyes to that, and that I've really tried to encourage other young people to do, is kind of look outward and say, this is me in my scenario, but I'm so privileged to be here, and it's so rare for me to have the opportunities I do. How can I make the most of what I have? And do something about it, because just because you're young, it's a terrible excuse to not do anything. It's like the reason I could do this is because I was young. But as I say, it was actually that one teacher, her name's Miss Detmer, and she was the one teacher, she had been waiting.
Oh, shout out to you.
Now she's Mrs. Brown.
Oh, Mrs. Brown, no wonder she upgraded to be Mrs.
Exactly. But she was, I think she was waiting to go online. She was ready for technology. She took full use of COVID and made the most amazing lessons, and I was like, wow, this is cool. And she made class so fun, it didn't feel like you were in class.
Wow.
And she was the one that made me think about everyone else. She was like, that's great, now we have online education, that's great, but now what about everyone else? What are you going to do now that there's been this change? And I started working with some twins from the Mbeleko Foundation. I met Milani. She's very inspirational. She's got an amazing story and just gives you her time, which is rare. A lot of people are too busy for you, especially as a young person with a very big dream. Some people are like, oh my word, no, I have bigger things to do. But she really gave me the time of day. And I met with two twins that were in my grade. And just a video call, and I remember, and it was also when it clicked, and I was like, okay guys, because I just wanted to know, I was IUB and they were CAPS. Okay, so I was trying to figure out, obviously, as a school student, I wouldn't know what curriculums, the difference, I just knew they had different names. So I was phoning them, and I was like, okay, so do you do this subject? And they're like, yeah, we do. And what about this subject? And I was just getting to know them, so I knew which resources I could start sharing, just with them, to see, do you does it make sense to you even for me to send my resources to you? Because if they're talking completely different things, it's not going to help you. And they were like, yeah, because we haven't even got we tried to have a WhatsApp group for our physics class, but we couldn't have WhatsApp because not enough people had data. So it's been, at the time, it's been 6 weeks and we've had nothing. So we've been trying to read our physics textbook. And I was like, oh my word, I've been having lessons every day by my teachers and I'm still confused. Now you're trying to read the pages of this textbook and you're assumed to pass your exams and continue advancing and finish high school. It's like, that's really difficult, you know. And also didn't have so many support structures in place. They were living with their gran. They were orphaned. It was like, and these students have done amazing things now. They've gone overseas, they've graduated, they did very well. But yeah, that's when it really clicked. I was like, there is this big, big gap that we're not even exposed to. And I think someone has to do something about it. So,
wow, that's truly amazing and inspiring. And now the system, the website is out there. How do people access these services? Do we pay? Is there a fee to pay, or how does it work?
so yeah, the big thing about Milani is that we want to have this top quality education accessible to anyone.
Yeah.
So we've been really, really strict on no subscriptions, no adverts, no premium version, all of that stuff. The whole entire platform is free to access because I don't think that you should have to pay to have a quality education. It's literally a human right, is access to education. So you literally Google Milani Education, Milani Education, and it's the first website that comes up.
Yeah.
And you
We'll post it, by the way, the details on the,
yeah, and you say sign up as a student. It's really easy, and then you can access all of our content for free. And if you're grade 10, you can learn grade 8 and 9 also. You can learn matric. There's no barriers to how much you can learn or what you can sign up to, and that's the beauty, is that you can learn at your own pace.
and play and replay.
Yeah, so if you don't understand a lesson in class, if you don't get it and you don't hear it because your friend's talking, you never get that back. But the beauty behind technology is that you can rewind and pause and do it all at your own pace whenever you want.
And pause, just like
Yes.
pause with Noku. You just pause.
Pause with Milani.
Pause with Milan. That's the way to go. But then now, what are the challenges? I mean, you are now 20, right?
No, nearly.
Nearly 20. You are still 19.
Yeah.
When I met you, I say you were 19. You're still 19. When is your birthday?
In exactly a month. In
Oh,
September.
wow. September, baby. So you are still 19.
Yes.
And you are this founder that has been all over making news headlines. And what is the success so far? How does it look like?
Really good. It took us a while, obviously, from our first day of having this idea and phoning everyone I could find. That was one of the testimonies, I think, as to why Milani's been successful. I just spoke to everyone I could. I learned what a pitch deck was, and I was going to apply for funding. I emailed Oprah Winfrey.
You are ambitious.
As a 14-year-old, I was emailing everyone, and I actually got some replies saying, sorry, no, but good luck, which was really nice.
Wow.
But it's been a very long, exciting, good journey. But it took us a few years to design a whole website. You know, initially I wanted it to be an app. And in class, I was drawing my 54 screens of this one, and you click there, and you do that, and I was drawing it on paper, and getting quotes, and we had seed funding, which was really gracious, and it was a family friend that I'd met that was starting his own initiative, and he said, you know what, I'm tired of soup kitchens, let's do something meaningful that will create lasting change, and that was a godsend. It was amazing.
Wow.
And yeah, we launched when I was in matric, which was exciting, and we had at the time we had grade 8 and 9 maths. And I got my friends in matric they needed community service, and we all sat down and had we called it the Milani Army. And we all worked together to upload all of this content and format it and stuff. And yeah, since matric it's flown, which is exciting. It's obviously ups and downs, and being a university student full time. When I come home, things increase rapidly because My mom is very involved. She's been amazing. She's always having business meetings.
So
with
she's
me.
part of the team.
Yes, yeah, she's very much involved and she's very business orientated.
Okay.
So I go home and rope in my family and say, okay, yeah, like what should I do? We're in this problem. Like I feel like students aren't benefiting. Okay, let's pivot. Maybe we should do this type of thing. So it's been an exciting journey. We now have over 1,300 sign-ups, students that have signed up to the website, which is awesome. It's a big number. But what's been the most rewarding is probably to see students actually using it. You know, it's really hard because we're a website. You don't often see the students using it. You can see the numbers, so it's nice. But being able to go visit Pebbles project here in Stellenbosch, and we did an afternoon and signed the students up and to sit and using it and be like, oh, this is cool. And we worked in St. John's, my old school, to have some afternoons with a local school, Sabantu, there. And we got some girls learning and using it, and there's a little learning center at home that we've set up in a church. And those have been the truly rewarding moments. It's not really about the numbers, it's so much seeing individual students using it and getting excited and being like, yo, this is cool. Like now I can pause it and I can redo it and I fully understand it. And now with us changing the way we do it, being able to test yourself and say, how much do I really understand? You know, and having a tutor or a teacher be able to see, okay, you're struggling a lot more, but you're not, and sometimes that isn't seen.
Wow.
So that's been exciting, is seeing the progress and seeing us pivot and change direction and learn, humble ourselves, and to say maybe this wasn't working as well as I thought. You know, the grade 9 vision isn't always going to be what's happening 5 years later. You know? But it's been amazing, and Stellenbosch has brought some amazing connections and opportunities, and being able to compete and show everyone and say this is what we're doing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So where do we go from here?
From here, we raise funds. That's a big one.
That's a need.
That's
funds.
a need.
Yes. So we need funds.
Yeah, corporate donations is what we really need.
Okay.
A lot of big companies have to give towards causes, and that's the appeal now. It's to say we've had years of testing it, getting input from teachers, a lot of different teachers, now professors also giving their input, and we're forging these partnerships, which are really amazing and exciting. But with me being a full-time student, and my mom has a full-time job and doing what she can, and we have Jamie who works alongside us. Everyone's, you know, doing their best, but we need proper backing. You know, to have a team and to go ahead, and we've got such exciting things that come along the way. But it's hard to make the most of it when I'm trying to study and everyone's doing a little bit, but we really need that funding to say, okay, here's our team. We're going to go out and we're going to have 5 more subjects on. We're going to find these teachers. We're going to edit it, put it on the websites. There's a lot of website development that needs to happen, but it takes manpower, you know, and it takes money, unfortunately. We don't want to. We're a non-profit. We don't want to have any revenue. We don't care about that. But in order for us to grow, we need to have money. Yeah.
Wow, what a conversation. You know, we can talk for ages. I mean, I just love the work that we do. And what is the most beautiful thing for me is just, it's not even about you, it's about others. This is justice. By the way, Happy Women's Month. You are one of those women that were making the difference, because the history of Women's Month is really about justice and dignity and equality, and that's what we're all about. And I wish you all the best, and I wish that you have everything that you need in schools. Please, teachers, subscribe. And the Department of Education, you know this, I see you there. One day is one day. You are going to have that coffee date with the Minister of Education. She's a woman, by the way. There's just no way that you two can just sit down and meet like the two of us. We just need to be there. Okay. I thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking time and pausing through. It was wonderful. It was beautiful. It was amazing as always. And I wish you success with your academics. When are you graduating? Is it 3-4 years?
4 years.
4 years.
2 out of 4 years. 1.5.
We're almost there, almost there. I wish you all the best, and thank you so much. Anything else you want us to know before we close this session?
I think we've covered a lot, but I'm just so grateful to be here. Thank you for having me. I think it's just to spread awareness for what we're trying to do, and also just a call. to increase our partnerships.
Yeah.
Not only we really need funding to get this in the hands of students, but partnerships of anyone that sees the opportunity to contribute. Whether it be an individual, a company, an organization. We really just need as many people as possible to come together and help fight for this change. That's what's really necessary, like you were saying.
Yeah, and that was it. Thank you for pausing with us. Pause with Noku. Until next time. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.